With Halloween right around the corner, you may want to start thinking about how to make sure your pets are safe amid all that goes on. And joining us now to talk about it is Dr. David Haworth, a veterinarian, animal wellness expert, and former head of PetSmart Charities, among other things. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your time.
Great to be here, Josh. Thanks for the opportunity.
So kind of talk us through this. I mean, when you think
Sure.
about when pet safety might be most important, you think usually 4th of July, fireworks, all of the sounds that are going on, but Halloween is also an important one, as we're hearing as well. But why is that? Why is it important to talk about pet safety during Halloween?
Well, if you think about it, holidays in general are a little stressful for our guys. They don't know what's going on. They don't get the fun part of the season. And a lot of the things, especially about modern Halloween, is pretty scary. If you think about the lawn ornaments that are making noises and making motions, people are dressed up in strange things. And then there's the absolute danger of candy, which of course we all know chocolate is toxin to dogs, but also aspartame, which is a common sweetener in many of our candies, particularly chewing gum, is also very toxic to dogs. So you've got that danger coupled with the danger of the doors are opening up all the time during that time. Oftentimes, families want to take their pet with them as they go out trick or treating. And all of those are just opportunities for dogs to get a little scared. Not all dogs, but those who run on the anxious side can get kind of freaked out at this time of year. So it is a fairly dangerous time for our pets.
Yeah, and when folks think about it, I mean, when we hear this, we think about what we could do in response to this. So I kind of want to separate it into two big chunks. The first off being,
Sure.
what can you essentially give your pets during this time to make that less stressful for them? Are there certain, toys or other things that could help physically with this kind of stress? What could be there?
Yeah, so I think I tend to advise people to do two things. One is know your dog. You know your pet better than anybody else. You know if this is a stressful time. Cats too. Then get them into a safe place. Make a safe place for them, whether that's a back bedroom or a mud room, someplace where you know that they can be safe and they can't get out if they are prone to running when the door gets open or being particularly reactive when they have new people coming to the door. Doorbell reactivity is one of the most common things that we see in dogs. And if you think about it, there aren't very many more nights than Halloween where you have more doorbells being rung. So making a safe place. And also, we like to, one thing that I really like is Dog TV, which is a free app that streams dog specific content that's been generated specifically to entertain your dog and also keeps the rest of the noise of the neighborhood down a little bit so you can kind of mask what's going on out there.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because, I mean, when you think about why it may be dangerous for pets is because of all the sensory that may be going on. But you talk about, pet TV, for example, and, how that could actually help them. I mean, what's the distinction? What makes certain stimulation like the TV more soothing than other potential stressors like noises and unfamiliar costumes? What makes it different from
Sure.
that for them?
Well, I mean, you think about it, dogs in this way aren't very different than you and I. There are certainly stimulatory activities. We don't watch an NFL football game, particularly these days, and hope that we're going to be calm through it. But on the other hand, if we want to listen to classical music or read a quiet book, those are calming activities. And the same thing happens for dogs. And so, dog TV in this case, particularly was generated with that in mind. And there actually are stimulatory modules free on the app if you want them, but also as well as calming modules that allow just generating background noise to kind of soothe over all those crazinesses of doorbells and screaming and the haunted house sounds that we have this time of year.
Yeah. Are there any of the more, traditional perhaps avenues like treats or,
Sure.
physical toys? Do those help at all? Or does that kind of add to it? How do those factor in?
Of course, safe treats for your dog, making sure they know they're a good dog and nothing that here is going on is because they've done anything wrong. Giving them in that safe space their traditional beds, for instance, or their toys, their favorite toys that they can know that this is a good place. And right now, a few weeks before Halloween is the best time to think that through. make that safe place, start letting them in occasionally, or even encouraging them to go in, maybe sometime during the day, maybe during a time when it's otherwise pretty calm, because then on Halloween, it's not a brand new experience for them. Certainly, when they come out, when the evening is done and the outside lights have been turned off, it's a good idea to give them some treats and maybe a little extra cuddle on the couch.
Yeah, certainly. I appreciate that you're mentioning, thinking about this now as opposed to the day before Halloween, so they have time to get that in their brains, get that kind of in their rhythm. So appreciate you taking us through that. Is there anything else that people should be aware of, or could be just easy steps to make sure that their pets are okay with this and that they aren't getting oversensitized, they aren't getting too stressed out? Is there anything else that we're not talking about so far, but you feel is important to mention? This is still something we need to talk about.
Well, I would say this is a great time to check how tight the dog's leash is, how tight their collar is, because on the night of Halloween, things can happen pretty quickly, and you'll want to make sure that it's a good snug collar, or their harness is on them all night long, and then build up that safety. You know your dog better than anybody else does. If they're prone to being freaked out, they're probably going to get a little freaked out on Halloween, and all we can do as good pet parents is just take care of them ahead of time.
Yeah, and I guess that just spurs a follow-up from me. I mean, we're hearing about you
Take
talk
some
about
great photos of your
leashes. We're
family.
talking on our, we're seeing on our screen right now that there are some dogs out at parades and such. I mean, is it healthy to take them out to, more crowded environments, or is it the better option to keep them in that solitary area? I mean, does it help with the sensitization to get them out among a lot of people, or is it better to keep them in a solitary place?
You're spot on, Josh. Of course, the more we expose them to these kinds of stimuli, the better they can handle those stimuli. And we know that good socialization is a key to having a well-behaved, healthy, mentally alert dog who's a good family member. So if you can, do so. If the dog, on the other hand, and no judgment here, but if your lifestyle doesn't lend itself to going out in public with your dog very often, maybe the first thing to do is not go to a Halloween parade with a million people and a lot of noises. Maybe trying walks in the neighborhood first. See how they respond to the yard decorations and the other things that go about this time of year.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you know your dog, you know your pet better than anybody else, so keep that into account. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us and walking us through the importance of this. Really appreciate your time and expertise.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Josh. See you soon.
See you as well.